Okay, so now can I be heard? Okay, so now can I be heard? All right, we're good. Okay, so now can I be heard? All right, we're good. Okay, so now can I be heard? All right, we're good. So now can I be heard? All right, hopefully you can hear me really good. All right, hopefully you can hear me really good. All right, hopefully you can hear me really good. All right, hopefully you can hear me really good. All right, I will. I'm not sure what's going on with the microphone. Okay, what I think I'm gonna have to do is just. All right. I'm not sure what's going on with the microphone. Okay, what I think I'm gonna have to do is just. All right. Okay, sorry you guys. If you're on YouTube, I can't see the comments. I'm new to this Zoom, going live on Zoom. So I just exit out the Yahoo, the YouTube chat. So because I think that's why it was the echo there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started now that I know that I can be heard. Hopefully the sound is clear. All right, so we're going to talk about the journey from pregnancy to postpartum. I am a birth worker, a doula, certified holistic doula, certified midwife assistant, yoni steam practitioner, womb yoga instructor. I'm a 5 times author. I have written the Dark Womb Redemption series. As you can see up there, that's the series. You can find out more information about me on my website, craftswoman.com. Follow me on TikTok at thecraftswoman. I am on my YouTube channel. The Craftswoman. So if you would like, please subscribe, like, share, comment, share. Let me know what you think about this video. So we're going to be talking about the journey from pregnant to postpartum. It's extremely important. First of all, we got to clarify that postpartum depression is not the same as postpartum, okay? Postpartum is a stage. So pregnancy is a stage, then you have your delivery, and then you go into postpartum. So these are the stages. And we're going to be talking about basically preparing for all of these stages. First, you want to prepare for your pregnancy by keeping it private. It's not really a preparation technique, but I suggest for you to keep it private during at least your first trimester. That's like recommended generally across the board because most miscarriages happen during the first trimester. I just like to say that pregnancy is sacred. Pregnancy is very special. It's very it's a big monumental life change in your life. It doesn't matter if it's your first child, fourth child, 10th, 14th child. Pregnancy is going to change your body, and each pregnancy is going to change your body in a different way and also change your life. So I believe that it should be kept private really as long as possible, or until you just have to give out the news. And I know a lot of people like to post their positive pregnancy test and all this stuff and say that, nobody can make anything happen. It's just something very sacred about keeping something a secret. So I think you should keep it private until you no longer can. I don't announce my pregnancy, maybe to the people that are close in my life. Of course, your medical providers and stuff like that, they have to know. But if you don't need to know, you're not going to know about any of my pregnancies. So I would say keep it private. You can also journal your feelings while you are pregnant. I have a pregnancy journal for you to journal all your feelings. The good thing about it is that when you are pregnant, you go through all of these emotional roller coasters. And I think it's good to jot all your feelings down, write everything down. Everything that you don't want to tell people that you want to keep private, or maybe you want to share with your child or your spouse or your family members and siblings later. I think it's a great thing to journal your feelings the entire time while you're pregnant. So the first thing you want to do once you get that positive pregnancy test, you want to start creating your birth team. So you want to find a OB, a midwife. If you want to do a completely free birth, free pregnancy, like unassisted pregnancy, that's your decision. You can do whatever you want to do. But I'm sure, like, I know people who do free pregnancies, or I can't free birth pregnancies. I can't think of the exact proper name, but they don't see any medical doctors during their pregnancy, but they do test themselves at home. And it's usually birth workers who are already familiar with and have had previous children and work with different clients. So, but you want to locate your OB, obstetrician. I hope that I'm saying it right, or your midwife. Now, you can choose a midwife who works in the hospital, or choose a midwife who does home births and births and out of hospital births. So there's two different midwives. There's a CPM, CNM, certified nurse midwife, who usually works in the hospital. Thank you so much, Black Cherokee. Thank you so much for letting me know that YouTube is working fine, because I'm still learning it. I don't know how to see the comments while I'm going live on Zoom. So you want to get your research your OB and your midwife. It's extremely important to look up reviews, ask around, what kind of doctor, what doctors the other people recommended. Look up reviews. I also, for the midwives, like for the OBs, I will look up like the medical board, see if they have any type of reports, lawsuits, or whatever. I will look their name up. For midwives, you can still look their name up on the internet, but you can also go to the department website, and you can look up the complaints and stuff like that that are on midwives. It's amazing the kind of stuff that I found out when I was pregnant, just researching OBs and midwives. And don't be fooled by the 5 stars, because I've had some of the worst experiences with the professionals who have 5 stars. So just make sure that you are researching your OB. After you find someone, you want to, go. And unfortunately, you can't just meet them. You actually have to pay, or, if you have Medicaid, it's free, but you have to pay a copay and a deductible to see these people. But you have to go to your OB, see how you feel, see how the bedside manner is and all that stuff. And a lot of people fail at that point. So we don't even get to the delivery part. So you want to make sure you research everybody. So your birth team will consist of, or can consist of, your spouse, parents, grandparents, your family, aunts, siblings, children, massage therapist, chiropractor, a doula, of course. Don't birth without a doula. And the reason why the doula is so important is because the doula should be a professional, someone who has gone through some type of training, they have experience, and they know what to look for. The doula is also not only really your advocate, but also a witness, someone else to give you advice, and also to make sure that your concerns are heard. So doulas are non-medical assistants. Okay. So doulas are different from midwives. Midwives do the medical stuff, like doing checking the fetal heart rate, doing pelvic exams, pap smears. What else do midwives do? Hopefully I said that right. Midwives is going to check your blood pressure, do everything medical, and the doula is going to do the stuff that's non-medical, like maybe trying to find you a OB or a midwife, maybe driving you to your appointments. It doesn't have to necessarily be that way. Helping you with comfort measures, helping you with maybe your nutrition. So many things doulas can do. Doulas can sometimes help. They call them sibling doulas. They can help watch the other children while you're giving birth, if it's a home birth or a birthing center birth. So don't sleep on the doulas. Doulas are extremely important. I know that right now it's like a trendy thing because the celebrities are doing all these home births and getting doulas and stuff. And please know that doulas do not equal water birth. When people say, "Oh, you a doula?" I always wanted a water birth. That's not the same at all. A doula can help someone who is gonna have an epidural. The doula can help someone who is having a C-section. So doulas are support people, okay? Non-medical support people. So I'm going to talk about postpartum, even though we haven't got to that part. A part of your birth team, you could have a pediatrician. Well, you should have a pediatrician. We definitely want to get the newborns checked out. Lactation specialist. Even every breastfeeding experience I've had, it has brought me some challenges. So a lactation specialist can help no matter how experienced you are with breastfeeding. Pelvic floor therapist, you may need one of those if you're having troubles in that area, because the pelvic floor is affected once you have a baby, no matter if it's surgical or vaginal. So make sure that you are getting your birth team together and finding out who you want to be there to support you during the journey. So you want to start shopping for your weight gain, getting your bras, maternity clothes, or just like bigger clothes. I like a lot of elastic things with elastic in it so that I can still wear it during postpartum. And for breastfeeding, you can get like tank tops or the small shirts and just cut slits in them for breastfeeding, so that when you start breastfeeding, you can lift, like I can lift up this top shirt and then I still have another shirt up on it, and nobody sees any type of skin, any type of flesh, because people are so offended by breastfeeding, but they don't have a problem with seeing strippers and cleavage and stuff. But it's a problem when you just feeding your baby. It's non-sexual, okay? So if you want to do that, I would suggest that, because it's just when you're out in public, you want, like, if you can have a blanket or something. Babies don't like blankets, especially when they get older. And I think it's just crazy because when you eat, do you put, a blanket over your head? And I've had all the problems with breastfeeding, people kicking me out of places or whatever. We could talk about that on another video, but it's illegal to do that. And a woman has the right to breastfeed wherever she wants to, covered or not. Turn your face if you don't like it. Start to live a healthy lifestyle. Now, I'm not the vegan police, I'm not the alkaline police, but I would say eat as healthy as you can, work out, stay away from negativity, just start to live a healthy lifestyle. Of course, this should happen before you get pregnant. So I say that we're not talking about preparing, well, we are talking about preparing for pregnancy, but when we're talking about fertility, you want to start getting your body right. For those who are who want to get pregnant, you want to start eating healthy and all of that 1 to 2 years before you actually conceive. Okay, so 1 to 2 years before, you want to make sure that you are preparing for birth. I mean, for pregnancy, for conception, actually. So it won't be preparing for birth, it would be preparing for conception. So you can eat, your sweet things, the stuff that you don't like because you got the cravings and stuff, but just don't go overboard. Expect and plan for the changes that are going to occur. Your body is going to change, your life is going to change. So go ahead and start planning for the changes, like the weight gain. Maybe you need to change your employment. Maybe you need to change your residence. Maybe you need to, like, maybe get a larger place, if you're growing your family. So many things that you can do to plan for the changes ahead. You know what's going to happen. Well, you don't know everything that's going to happen, but you know that there's another life that you're going to be responsible for. Your body is going to be different. You may not lose the weight, or you may lose too much weight. Sometimes people have that issue where they lose too much weight or gain a lot of weight. Hair issues, your hair grow really good when you're pregnant, and then some people experience significant hair loss after childbirth. So, whatever your spiritual practice is, I would say to maintain your spiritual practice. It doesn't matter what you believe in, because you are going through something that needs faith to have a baby, to bring that life into this world. For your baby to come through that portal, to enter into that gateway, you're putting your life on the line. So you want to make sure that you are maintaining your spiritual practice and being very spiritual. I don't care what you believe in, you got to believe in something. So maintain your spiritual practice. These are some things that I want you to research, no matter what birth you're planning on having. The first one is ultrasounds, and I know that we're getting the 3D ultrasounds. Everybody wants to see what their baby looks like, can't wait for them to come out, but you want to see what they look like in utero. I'm going to tell you that the risk of ultrasounds is there. They try to say there's no risk, there's low risk. There are risks. Some of those risks are delayed speech problems, neurological problems, autism. There's all type of issues that can happen when you have ultrasounds. Just think, they're X-raying. They can say, oh, there's no radiation or little radiation. They're looking into your body, and you have a fetus that's growing. So think about that. Um, I know some people would like to get an ultrasound in the beginning. I would say wait as late as possible. And if you can only do one, do one. Sometimes people they want to get an ultrasound every trimester. And even when it gets towards the end, sometimes doctors will recommend you get an ultrasound like weekly. Just look into the risk of ultrasounds. Also, look at the risk of inductions, like what actually are inductions. There's different types: Pitocin, epidural, episiotomy, rupture of membranes, cesarean. So usually what happens is when you go into the hospital, even if you want to do a natural birth, they just automatically gonna, okay, think we're gonna speed things up a little bit. We're gonna give you some Pitocin, um, or maybe another type of any type of some type of induction, and then what happens is the Pitocin makes the contractions become more aggressive and harder. And then you're crying for epidural, then you get the epidural. Now you can't walk around, and you're basically chained to a bed, locked to the bed. You can't move around, and that is what's going to affect a lot of more things, like you don't know when to push because somebody else is telling you when to push, and then you're likely to tear, and heart rate decels, the heart rate goes down, all these type of issues, and then all of a sudden we have an emergency C-section, all because you went down the road, the cascade of events, the roller coaster, the what just how the system goes. Okay, it's induction, Pitocin, epidural, cesarean. That's usually how it works. You want to look up vaccines, lotus births, delayed cord clamping, placenta encapsulation, skin to skin, breastfeeding, circumcision. There's way more to research, but I would like for you to please research all of these things. And if you want to see what I'm talking about, you can go to my YouTube channel, The Craftswoman, and look up pregnant to postpartum. Now, delayed cord clamping is extremely good for the baby because the baby will get all of its iron transfers, all of its blood, white blood cells, all of that, red blood cells, all of that goes to the baby versus cutting it immediately and getting that cord blood for stem cells and all of that. And also look into placenta cells, like what actually happens to your placenta and how much money is made off your placenta. I saw a video that said that the placenta is worth over $50,000, and they prefer the placentas from the belly birth, surgical birth, C-sections, because it's considered to be cleaner than the vaginal birth. So we have a lot of placentas being taken away, even when women want to use the placenta and do placenta encapsulation, or maybe bury it in a garden under in a tree or something like that, because there's nutrients, there's stem cells, all this good stuff in the placenta. So these are some labor and birth positions. It's good to look at this, but once you're in the thick of it, once you're in the middle of labor, you don't know what position is going to work for you. It could be hands and knees, it could be on the side, squatting, but laying on your back in the bed is just not the option. Okay, you want to be leaning in some type of way, even if you want to be in the, sitting upright, even leaning over on the birthing ball, yoga ball. These are some really good positions here. So prepare for the birth that you want. Decide if you are going to do a VBAC, which is a vaginal birth after cesarean. Yes, just because you get a cesarean, you have a cesarean, does not mean you have to consistently have cesareans. You can find a doctor that supports VBAC, and even some midwives support VBACs. So look into vaginal birth after cesarean. Figure out if you want to do unassisted. Anytime I've done unassisted, I never went into it thinking I'm going to do it unassisted. And I've had people to think that just because I'm a birth worker, that, and I know a lot of women, a lot of mothers who do unassisted births. So they just assume that that's what I want to do. But nope, that's never been my initial decision. But because of my prenatal experiences, just not being happy with any providers, that's what I ended up doing. And it was always the best decision for me. Find out if you want to do a water birth. If you want to do a water birth, find out what pool you want to use. This is another thing. When you do have a water birth, a lot of moms, they just buy the pool and everything, but they don't think that the hose, the connector from the pool, it needs to be compatible with a faucet in your house. So whether it's usually the kitchen sink, where we get the hose from to put the water in. I'm trying to think if I ever think of anywhere else we have put the hose. It can go to the bathroom or whatever, but you want to make sure that that hose actually, for the birth pool, you want to make sure that the water hose is actually compatible with the faucet that you have, because I've had clients that are so excited about having a water birth, and we take the pool out and nothing is connected. So nothing can connect. So they can't even have the water birth that they wanted. Now I'm a fan of the tub, because it's just so much easier to drain the water, to keep the water at a good temperature, to keep it clean. You can drain it, run more water. But when you have that birthing pool, it's a lot of work. For my birth workers, my doulas, about that water birth, the keeping that pool clean, cleaning that pool, getting the water out, all that type of stuff is something else. So you want to find out if you want to be medicated, what type of medication. Hey there, what type of medication do you want to take if you want to be medicated? As a doula, none of my clients have ever went to medicine. If we, what is it? So research the medication. Think about actually what that medication is doing to your body and doing to your baby. So we want the babies to come out sober, but some people just can't take it. Really, when it comes to having a natural birth, when people ask me, "Oh, you had a natural birth, you didn't have any drugs." Honestly, like the first time that I gave birth, I was screaming and yelling. Like I was like, "Oh no, I'm not about to do this." But I didn't have a doula. I didn't have any support persons, any support people with me. And once I got the epidural, because at first they said I wasn't far long enough, I wasn't even dilating. I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm really feeling this. I ended up getting an epidural when I was 8 centimeters dilated, which if I had a doula, someone would have been able to say, "Hey, you're already there. There's no need to get it. You've been through it." And the thing was, I was chained to a bed. I was getting whatever medication that they had, but it just was not strong enough. And when you cannot freely move, that's what makes things a lot more uncomfortable. So we don't use the word pain or hurt. We're not trying to manifest pain or suggest that your birth will be painful. We just want to use words like intensity, uncomfortable, because some people have orgasmic births, some people have births that are not painful. So don't think that just because you're having a birth, you're giving birth, that is going to be so painful. A lot of times you just have to keep moving. That's the main thing. You have to keep moving while you are in labor. At home, I've gone from in the hospital, that one birth that I had in the hospital. I mean, I don't even know. I didn't experience what it's like to birth freely. But when I had my unassisted home births, I experienced what it was like to birth freely. So I would get down on the floor, I would get up to the bed, I would squat, I would do so many different things just to make it bearable for me. And what's so interesting, my last birth, which was my longest birth, I've had births like 4, 5, 6 hours, and this last birth was like 22 hours. I was like, oh my gosh, this is taking too long. But you know what? I never ever felt like the pain or the way it felt was unbearable. I just wanted it to hurry up and have my baby. But I never felt like I wanted to get an epidural. Now, one time, the first time I had an unassisted birth, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go get an epidural. I don't have nothing to prove with nobody because this hurts. But as soon as I was saying that, my baby just came out. I don't know how much I was dilated. All I know is my body pushed my baby out versus my first medicated or hospital birth. Yeah, I was medicated. I got an epidural. And then once you get an epidural, you cannot feel. You have to work with your body when you're giving birth. You can't feel anything. So you're looking for somebody outside of you to tell you when to push. And they're just looking at charts or whatever, looking at a screen, trying to tell you what your body is doing. Your body knows what to do. It is intelligent. We've been birthing for millions and millions and millions and millions of years before there was a so-called hospital. Remember, Black women just got the chance to even be in a hospital, and the whole system is based is was started off of experimenting off of Black people. So remember that when people say, oh, you didn't go to the hospital to have your baby. I had healthy, successful births, and all of my children are healthy. So having that epidural, I believe, is the reason why I tore, because the other times I didn't tear, or the tearing was minimum to where I didn't need stitches. So you do, I think it's up to like maybe 2 degrees where your body will naturally heal. Anything above that, you have to get stitches. And then I think above 4, you have to go to the OR, you have to go to the operating room, the emergency room. You got to get some stitches, get back together when you tear to your rectum. I believe that people are tearing to their rectum because they're on the medication where they can't feel, or they're strapped down to the bed where they can't freely move. If you can freely move and you work with your body, I don't believe you're going to tear. It doesn't matter. It's people that have 9, 10 pound, 11 pound babies at home, and they're petite and they're small. The reason why I even became a doula is because the girls or the young ladies in my community they were saying that we all got cesareans, but you didn't have a cesarean. They told me that my pelvis was too small. I wouldn't be able to deliver my baby naturally, so I had to have a cesarean. So there was like some admiration for me to have a home birth. No, I didn't have a home birth. To have a hospital birth that first time, I had a hospital birth, and I didn't have to have a cesarean, but I still tore, and it was unnecessary because I couldn't feel. So because I tore my first birth, I was extremely scared. That was my fear of having a home birth. And when I was looking into getting midwives, the midwives were the one midwife that I wanted. She was new. And she said that I didn't like her bedside manner, but I was still trying to consider her. She was saying, because it's not that many Black midwives around. And I really wanted a Black midwife. I wanted a Black birth team. So she said that she didn't feel comfortable stitching. And thankfully, she was honest, to tell me that. And with her honesty, I was like, nah. And I wanted to make sure I had a Black birth team. She couldn't guarantee me that. And I didn't want nobody to come and watch me have a baby, because that's basically what was going to happen. Of course, they're there for emergency, but I just wanted to just do it at home. So I just ended up doing an unassisted home birth. Another thing, besides deciding what type of birth you want, even if you decide what type of birth you want, that may not be the birth that you have. Because one time I wanted a water birth. I got in the water. I did not like it. So I did not have a water birth. The other time, I didn't even think about having a water birth, but my doula suggested that I get in the bathtub for, I guess, I don't know, maybe to calm me down, because I feel like the being in the water slows things down. It's very relaxing though. That water is like an epidural. That water can really, really help with making you feel more comfortable, making you feel more relaxed when you're giving birth. And I actually had a chance to experience an awesome water birth. So, and another thing, especially you first time moms, doulas, you already know first time moms, sometimes y'all have just unrealistic expectations that sometimes it ain't gonna work out the way you want it to work out. And you can't be mad at your doula that it didn't work out the way you wanted it to work out. Okay. You gotta just know it is what it is. And make sure you plan and prepare for the next time that you are going to be giving birth. But don't be so like stuck on how you want the birth to go. Now, there are several people who have the magical births, the exact vision of the birth that they wanted. Me, I'm just more concerned about being healthy, being alive, giving birth to a healthy, alive baby. That's the most important. Being peaceful. I don't want to have to deal with no trauma. That's the most important thing for me. So when you're preparing for birth, you do need to exercise. You're gonna have to come up with an exercise plan, an exercise routine. It's extremely important. So if you would like for me to be your doula, I cannot take you if you're not going to exercise and you're not going to drink water. Those are pretty much the two recommendations. Those are the two requirements. I mean, people can lie all day, but if you lie, you lie. You have to do some exercise. And so we're not doing while we're pregnant. So the first trimester, we're going to be chilling out, keeping it private, really going within, researching who we want to be on our birthing team. So we're not really stressing too much because we're so tired during that first trimester. Deal with the fact that, okay, I'm pregnant now. I'm giving birth. I'm about to give birth, and focus on that during your first trimester. During your second trimester, you're going to make sure that you want to start being more serious about your exercise plan, because the condition of your body is going to be able to determine how you will birth and how you will heal during your postpartum time. So you want to make sure that you are exercising. The exercising that I recommend is walking, stretching, and swimming. If you're already athletic or have been exercising, you can consider weights if that's something that you already do, Pilates, dance, yoga, whatever you do, you need to keep your body moving. Keep your core moving, because that's going to help you push out this baby. You have to work out. You have to exercise. No lazy pregnant people around me. Yes, you can. We're not trying to have you to overdo it, but I am, and a fitness instructor can also be on your birth team too. But you want to make sure that you are exercising. As far as swimming, if you got some hairstyle, you don't want to get wet, sisters. You're not natural. You want to keep, your whatever type of hairstyles people have, straight hairstyles. You just keep your hair covered, but you still want to get in that water. So if you don't have access to the pool or the beach, you can do some things in your bathtub. You can, because that water is really good to exercise in, because you're not going to have any injuries, and it's going to work out the internal muscles that we don't work out on a regular basis, along with the stretching and the yoga. So you want to make sure that you're walking, stretching, swimming, if you can, doing some water aerobics. It is extremely good for you to have a healthy, safe delivery. So walking, stretching, swimming, exercising is a must. Pick whatever exercise you like and stick with it. So we're going to skip the elevator and we're going to go up some stairs. Yes, while we're pregnant. Unless you're on bed rest. Now, if you have been instructed to be on bed rest, you're high risk, We're not talking to you right now. That's a whole nother subject. You want to create your birth plan. So some people don't know what a birth plan is, but it's basically you writing a vision, making it plain on how you want your birth to go. Now, remember, don't be so stuck on, all these. Don't be so, sometimes things don't go the way they plan, but at least have a plan. Have a plan, work the plan, make it simple and easy to read. But I'm going to tell you right now that when you give your birth plan to the doctor, to the nurses, they're going to pick it up, look at it, and they're going to put it down, and they're never going to pick it up again. So it's up to your doula to enforce the things that you want on your birth plan to happen. So doulas, this is your checklist to make sure that you did your job. So some of the things to make or to write or to think about when it comes to your birth plan is, what does your birth look like? What does it look like to you? How do you envision your birth? Is you doing it? You know what you want. Do you want music? Do you want certain colors? Do you want certain scents, essential oils, air diffusers, candles? Do you want it to be quiet? Do you want it to be loud? Do you want it to be like a party? Sometimes home births it gets crunk up in there, like people they get litty, like people are in there, eating, dancing, just celebrating the life that's about to come into this world. Or you might want it to be quiet and have the meditation music. You might want to have the gospel music, jazz music, rap, hip hop, certain TV show, maybe some instruments in the hospital room. People don't have drums and all type of stuff. You have to make your birth experience the way that you want to create it. Plan it. Don't let somebody else tell you how your birth will be. What do you want to eat? What do you want to drink? If you're not eating and drinking during your birth, you definitely want a postpartum meal immediately after you give birth, because you want to replenish from the blood loss and from all the energy that you've used to work. You've gone through labor, you've gone through delivery. So, what do you want to eat? What are the snacks? We're not talking about just sitting up having a big meal. I'm not with the whole 24-hour starvation and dry fasting that they make you do in the hospital, because they're getting you ready for surgery. They don't want to have to deal with bowel movements and vomiting and all that type of stuff. So make sure that you have your snacks ready. Your doula can bring your snacks, or your family members, and make sure that you have what you need. Coconut water is really good as a refreshing drink after you deliver. I ask for my clients to write a plan B, just in case, like if something goes a different way. Like just in case we're having a home birth and you have a medical transfer for whatever reason, what do you want to happen when that happens? Where do you want to go? If you have to have a cesarean, who do you want to be in there? I think it's only one person can be in there. What do you want to happen immediately after your cesarean? So make sure you have a plan B, even if you're not planning that. And usually people never write a plan B, and we never have to go to plan B. We have that vaginal cesarean. Oh no, I have experienced medical transfers. Maybe one, but yeah, people can possibly have a medical transfer, whether it's retained placenta or meconium presence, or people just no, people, they usually do it all the way. I was trying to think if there's anybody that said that they just wanted to go to the hospital just because, if it wasn't already planned. So this is an example of a birth plan, which I think is written out really good. It's a little bit long, but it's written pretty good. This person is writing their birth plan of what they want for their labor. Father will make any medical decisions if mother is unable, move freely throughout the labor, intermittent or wireless fetal monitoring, allow water to break naturally. Pain medication, you want to hold off as possible. Use birthing tools food and water instead of IV. These are very specific requests that this person has written in their birth plan. So they basically divided it up in 3 sections into how they want their labor to go, their birth, no forceps or vacuums, unless medically necessary, no episiotomy, allow amniotic sac to rupture naturally, post-birth, and then they divided it up again and made it very clear. But I just think it's a little bit too long. Some things are redundant. It's just a little bit too long to where people are not going to read this. But of course, your doula is going to read it. For the mom, allow natural placenta birthing, meet with lactation consultant. Local anesthesia requested for any stitches. For baby, hold baby skin to skin immediately. That 1 golden hour is extremely important, and this person definitely knew the benefit of it. They have the delayed cord clamping on there by 2 to 5 minutes if possible. If you want delayed cord clamping, that's when the doula comes in, because they be lying. I'm sorry. I've experienced them lying, saying that, oh yeah, we waited it's been 2 minutes, and it only been like 30 seconds. And they cut the cord and they get that cord blood because it is very valuable in more ways than one. So you want your baby to get all of their blood. Why cut it so somebody else can have a new knee and live a few years longer? So, by the stem cell research and transplants and donations and all that stuff. This person wants the father to cut the umbilical cord, delay newborn procedures like bathing. Now, delaying the bath is extremely important, even for like a week. The baby is not stinky like the Vernex, the white sticky stuff that comes out on their skin. It's good to regulate their body temperatures. It's good for them to keep that Vernex on. And I would say like 7 days. And it's like you get that newborn smell. This person wanted to delay vaccines, the eye ointment. Oh my gosh, the eye ointment, that's a whole nother story. It's not even necessary. And it causes so many irritations and things to their problems with the eye. They want to delay the Apgar temperature. So they basically want to delay the newborn screening for 1 hour to feed and bond with the baby. It's extremely important that when the baby comes out, that you put the baby on your skin to initiate breastfeeding. So the people that have the most problems with breastfeeding is because they were separated from their baby after birth. So when the baby goes to NICU, cesareans, all of them take it. Oh my gosh, the first time when I birthed in the hospital, that's one thing I hated. They just took my baby. They didn't ask me, are you rooming in? Like this, because I was there without a doula with no support. So it's like they was doing whatever they wanted to do, and I had to ask for my baby. The baby belongs to the mother. The baby should be on the mother. It's the best thing for the mom and the baby for healing, for bonding, so that the colostrum clump comes, the latching is easy. There's no other person that the baby needs to be with unless it is a real medical emergency, and still the baby should be in the presence of the mom. If baby, she's saying on this birth plan, if baby needs to be taken for medical treatment, the father will accompany. Parents must be consulted before the baby is offered a bottle or pacifier. Intent is to exclusively breastfeed. During my first birth, an only hospital birth, I said, I'm breastfeeding, still gave my baby a bottle and pacifier. No, we are breastfeeding. Still gave my baby vitamin K shot when I said no vaccines. But I didn't have a birth plan. And after that, I became a doula. So that's why I say don't birth without a doula. So many things that's so much important. And yes, auntie and grandma and stuff, they can do it. They can be your doula. They can be your birth support person. But they may not have the training, because remember, doulas have a different set of eyes to know what to look for and things that are extremely important. They're requesting to room in with the baby with mother 24 hours a day, which it should be that way. So when you're dealing with the hospital people, with the hospital staff, you got to be firm and know that you're the customer, you're the client. This is your birth, this is your body, this is your experience. You want to make sure that you're in control of that. And now when people think, because I thought, oh, I read all the books, my first pregnancy, I thought, oh, I read all the books, I'm good, I don't need nobody. Even though I did, the people that I want there could not be there. So I ended up being by myself. But you don't know what you don't know. And it's extremely important to have someone there to help to make sure that what you want happens. And no matter if you have a medicated birth or unmedicated birth, you're not 100% there. You're not 100. You're in another world when you're birthing. It's like it's a high that the drugs cannot even compare to. It's just like you're so high. You're just in another world. It's kind of like an out of body experience when you're birthing, whether it's medicated or not. So you want to make sure that you are definitely you have a doula to make sure that you have the birth experience that you want. So when it comes to preparing for postpartum, and we put all of this effort into the birth, the birth, the birth, the birth. Remember, the birth is only going to happen what, one day, usually a few hours to one day, maybe a few days. But postpartum lasts for years. Postpartum is extremely important for us to pay attention to. So you want to get your recovery plan, figure out how you are going to start to heal yourself. Remember, you have a plate size wound where the placenta was in your body, and it's said to take 9 months to heal. You got your hormones need to balance out, and that can take several years for that to happen. So your recovery plan could consist of vaginal steaming, baths, chiropractic care, massages, whatever you feel that's going to bring your body healing. Nutritional menu should consist of the 3 S's and 1 H. Remember this: soup, salads, smoothies, and herbal tea. We're not drinking nothing cold. We're not eating nothing cold. Okay. So if you're delivering in July, August, in hot Texas, Florida, sorry for you, but we don't want to do anything cold while we're healing, especially within the first few months. You want to do soups, comforting meals, soul foods, salads. You can still do raw salads without it being cold. You can just have it at room temperature. You can still drink smoothies. They don't have to be cold. You can just have it at room temperature. And you want the warm herbal tea. There's so many good teas. Red raspberry leaf is the ultimate uterine tonic, so you should definitely be taking that. And I do have that ingredient along with nettle, and nettle is good for the blood loss and for iron. I have that in my womb herbs, which is available on my website, craftswombman.com. So it's so many good herbal teas that'll help to nourish your body and replenish your body with all the nutrients that you have lost. You need to figure out what you're going to do for stress management. Are you going to pray a few minutes a day or meditate? What are you going to do for rest and relaxation? You can't skip on the sleep. You got to figure out how you're going to sleep, how you're going to still function without being stressed out, because you have a new baby that is now your responsibility. And that brings on a load of stress that we can't even really explain, and it really never goes away. I don't have adult children yet, but even with having a teen and seeing that, okay, they are going to be an adult at some time, it's not going to make my worry be cut off. It's probably going to be even more, because they will eventually get out of the house, start their own life. So I'm not there to see everything. So it's just a lot of responsibility when you have a new child. And remember, those changes, it can change the dynamics of your relationships, your love relationships with your spouse, with your family, with your friends, with your coworkers. Everything is going to change. So you want to figure out how you want to, you're not going to get all the way stressed out. Chamomile, there's so many things that are good for relaxing you. Lavender, so many herbs and teas and different things that you can do to relax you, because you want to seek that balance. Financial plan. You want to plan how you are going to make it during your postpartum time. So, you can save up money. You can figure out what you're going to do for income. Do you need to go and move in with somebody? Do you have a spouse that can pay all the bills and take care of you while you take care of your baby, take care of y'all's baby? And that is what I think that should happen. But sometimes we still have to work. So I think you should consider a work at home job. If you have to go out and work, look at your child care options, like who is going to be looking out for your baby. And hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I do have to talk about, you know, child molestation, abuse, and stuff like that. So you want to really examine with a magnifying glass who is going to be keeping your baby. There's really no 100% way to know, if anyone is going to be touching your baby. But according to my research, when I was reading about sexual abuse and I was writing my first book, it said that 90% of people who've been sexually abused, it has happened before the age of 3. So yes, babies are targets. And I had no idea, honestly, that people actually mess with babies. I didn't know. Yes, it's sick to mess with children. It's sick to mess with teenagers who don't have um the intellect to even understand that part of adult reality or responsibility. So people, the babies, the younger children, they're vulnerable, and people actually target babies. And the PDF files, they like certain age groups. So there's some that like babies, there's some that like is it puberty, the puberty stage, and then the teenagers. So there's like 3 or 4 different age groups that minor attracted people like, which is sick. Um, because you can't find an adult, like it's real sick. So you got to think about that, because when your child grow up and they acting different and stuff is going on, it's because stuff happened that they can't remember, or they can't even communicate on what happened. I've known people to remember things that have happened to them when they were 1 and when they were very young. So you want to make sure that you look after, think about the person who is going to be keeping your children. Then as they grow, you want to make sure you tell them what their private parts are, question them, all that stuff. I'm paranoid and I don't trust anybody. Like, I just don't, just from my experience, unfortunately. So you want to make sure that you educate yourself. When you get pregnant, you want to educate yourself. Education is extremely important, and everybody knows that we have a high infant and maternal mortality rate. Not only do we have a high infant and maternal mortality rate, we also have a high amount of women getting unnecessary cesareans and having all these different complications and birth trauma, womb trauma, just from bringing life into this world. So it's extremely important for you to educate yourself. So I wrote my first book, The Dark Womb Redemption, A Holistic Guide to Womb Wellness for Black Women. Really, I wrote this book because there were so many women who were telling me that they were bleeding for weeks. They just didn't know a lot of the stuff that when I started teaching in my womb wellness classes, they didn't know. They had never had an orgasm. They didn't know about like certain hygiene practices. There are so many things. There's so many women getting unnecessary hysterectomy. So that's what the first book about. There's also some information in there about birth, fertility, and childbirth. And the second book, which has the journal with it, the Dark Room Redemption 2, which is a guide to pregnancy, childbirth, and postpartum. And that one has the birth affirmations, the um the pregnancy affirmations, everything. It's a guide to pregnancy, childbirth, and postpartum. Definitely need to get that. So so many. It's like an exercise routine in there. It tells you how to belly bond, how to bee steam, how to do a lotus birth, how to make pad sickles, how to make your own postpartum recovery plan. And then I have the Dark Room Redemption 3, which is my last book. and it is a guide to fertility, home birth, and breastfeeding. So it's extremely important for you to know about how to naturally overcome fertility. I've had my problems with infertility, and a lot of women are having problems with infertility. So you don't have to go the IVF route and save eggs and spend all this money injecting yourself. You don't have to go that route. If you choose to, your body, your choice. But if you want to know how to overcome infertility naturally, I would advise you to check out that book, because I overcame infertility after the age of 40 and had healthy home birth. So we're going to talk, it talks about home birthing and also lactation. I remember the first time when I was pregnant, I was reading all these books. I did not find any melanated person that had written a book on breastfeeding, maybe one or two books on pregnancy. So it's extremely important that we, write books, and we also learn from each other, because we have different experiences than other people. That is the honest truth. So if you want to know how to get those, well, just go to craftswoman.com. You can join our VIP memberships too. So if you are a birth worker, or you are interested in pregnancy and childbirth and overcoming womb issues, please go to craftswoman.com and check out the memberships, the very affordable memberships that we have available. And doula's training starts soon. I do have a self-paced training where you can take it as you go. And also in-person training has to be a certain amount of people. And then there's online training that starts very soon. The Pregnant to Postpartum event is happening March 23rd, 2 to 6 p.m. in Dallas, Texas. So if you are pregnant, or you know someone who's pregnant, if you know someone who just recently had a baby, like they have a child under 3, we'll be giving out free Pampers, free baby items. We're celebrating new moms, offering support and education. We'll be talking about how to baby wear, how to wear your baby, how to wrap your baby. That really helps. When your baby is whining and crying, they want to be held, they want to be close to you, but you got things to do. You got to do dishes, you got to cook, you got to do something. You can wrap them on your back or in your front and keep them close to you, because that's what they want. Remember, like almost the first year, the baby don't even know. They said the first 9 months, the baby don't even know that they're separated from you. They think they're still in you. So that is supposed to be close to you. Keep your baby close. And then we'll talk about belly bonding, a closing of your bones, your body, to help your body recover from pregnancy. So we're going to be talking about labor preparation, preventing postpartum depression. That is extremely important. There's a strategy to prevent postpartum depression. So on March 23rd, 2025, from 2 to 6 p.m., we'll be in North Dallas celebrating new moms. So come to the Pregnant to Postpartum event. And if you want free tickets, you can DM at thecraftswoman or email contact@craftswoman.com.